typing up a storm at the on the chat line. We might get to that. But now here's I want Bert to hear this. What can I say? Where are you, Bert?
I was also thinking about what he said. Music expresses the heart and the soul. I mean, now that we know what we know music cannot express the heart or the soul. Right. And I was thinking, what does music really expresses?
It's the most harmonious version of social motor. It connects people. Social motor language is there to connect people, like non-physical, and the language is a little more complex than pure non-physical. But music is the best achievement of social motor. Doesn't lead to salvation, but it is the perfection of human communication. Wouldn't that be the role of it?
Or I was thinking maybe it was like the first type of abstraction. Like we want to develop the phonetic alphabet with giving this phonemes symbol, a letter.
Yeah.
And music, and this was the first abstraction, but maybe music was the first type of abstract language. That's something we could communicate with without mortar, without words.
Yeah, without semantics. Semantic verbal interruption, verbal confusion. It's pure language, pure social motor. It's social motor, and Ian said that. Ian said that music is part of mortar. It's not the communication that that Ian projects on transcension.
Yes, and I was thinking, what type of creations we're going to have when the senses are no longer separated and we have this same aesthetic perception, and we can see the sound and hear the light.
Well, Ian gave us it. Right, Ian told us. He said when you have an orgasm, your whole body will ripple. Your whole skin will ripple. That's what people will be doing.
So that would be their real rock and roll.
Yes. And I wanted to say the rock and roll. Right. And McLuhan said Joyce had stone and water in every line. Stone is rock, roll is water. So rock and roll is the basic dialectic between water and stone. It's Finneganese in not
listen, and you were saying at the beginning we are the stone, the rolling stone.
Yeah, Zappa song, help, I'm a rock. Where's my roll? But did I say we're a stone? Did I say that?
Something like that. Yeah, we are now the magnesium or stone or something like that.
Yeah, I said we are mineral. We're not even human. There's no chemical body. Everything's been wiped out. Yes, we are just a slab of dirt.
We're the Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, that's right. So, Bert, any comment before I give the big summation?
Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Bob?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I was muted. No.
No, I unmuted as soon as you showed up.
Oh, I didn't hear it. The music, Ion said music is part of mortar, but also McLuhan said that music is speech slowed down. So is that what Ion's referring to, that music's part of mortar? But we're moving to, with Payday, more of a complex or a collage of speech, music, or actually including everything.
Synesthesia.
Yeah.
That's why people start having anomalies. There's actually a synesthesia effect of Ion. And they start mixing up, their brains and senses get addled like on LSD, and they start having interesting experiences.
So what the big picture of what Ion's doing is they're changing our corpus callosum, perhaps?
They're changing the whole physical body, the cellular structure, so that you are not going to be made up of what medical anatomy says you're made up of. You're not going to be following those biological rules. And the more adept you are, you'll be able to adopt any form.
Yeah. That's what's fun about this before you go to the recap of Zappa, is because from what I'm gathering, it's like a large collage of all the experiences that most people have had involving music, and then if you include McLuhan with the print and the alphabet, Zappa covers it all. That's why I agree with you and Roxana that he's the last great composer, because he included everything. A lot of people, just like most of the Zappa fans, will just look at Zappa as a musician, but what you're presenting and laying out here, the dude was really a lot larger than just a musician. I mean, he's like you said, what do you call it? You had a word for it.
Satellite conductor. He's a satellite conductor.
Satellite conductor. Yes.
Yeah. 2 points. Remember when Michael Blake Reed, channeling the Evergreens, when I talked to Frank through him and the Evergreens, when he came out of it, he says, "Holy shit, I was inside Frank's brain. It was huge. He had many projects going. I've never been in anybody else's brain." This is what Michael's hallucinating in his dream state when he's out and unconscious, but he's dreaming. And he dreamed of being inside Frank's brain. I could probably read the transcript. We have it here somewhere. But that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
because we know dreams are parallel travel. I mean,
beg your pardon?
Maybe we did that. Dreams are not dreams. It's real traveling.
That's right. Yeah, he actually went somewhere. And maybe Zappa was this 500-year-old guy, and brain was expanding. He used to talk about Uncle Meat would expand the brain cells of ruminant jets, and it would show by their noses getting bigger. I think that's what it was. The extra. He talks about extra cells. Holy shit! That's the 144,000 double helix strands in the nose. You have to get the notes to that and read it precisely. But what?
No, Michael Blake Reed. He said he felt he was in Zappa's brain.
Inside Zappa's brain. He said, "I never was in anybody else's brain." People talk to people, and Michael's dreaming about the person. He never dreamt of the person and experienced the inside of the brain. He said there was all kinds of projects. And I think he says, why didn't you, he asked, in the dream, he asked Frank, why didn't you do all these other projects? And Frank says, well, it's because of the name. I had a lot of bad associations with my name. People didn't want to work with me or something. And then Michael said to him, well, why don't you change your name? And Frank said, yeah, I had thought of that. And then it petered out. But there was a conversation. Michael was just curious. So you got all these other things you can do. And the other thing is you got Frank. He's not only the last musician, he's making the last grand humanist gesture. He's running for president. That's the final art form. Which happens in the movie The World's Greatest Sinner. He's acting out what Tim Carey presented in World's Greatest Sinner. This insurance salesman gets bored. Elvis is happening in the late 50s, so he says, I'm going to do that. So he makes up a rock band and acts, totally crazy on the stage, way crazier than Elvis, epileptic fits and everything, and he becomes very popular. And then he forms a religion, and then he seduces 14-year-olds and old women, and gets the old women to give him their wills and testaments. And so he builds up that empire, and I'm not sure if he becomes president, but eventually he decides to go after God. He challenges God. And then I talked about that. That ends up in a disaster, I think. But he was the world's greatest sinner. And he goes from, working stiff to an entertainer to a politician. And Frank was doing the same thing. And, Dr. Zircon, we're going to find out, is a term for the devil. So here's Frank calling himself Dr. Zircon. So, and you remember his brother Frank, when he was like late teens, early 20s, he told his brother that he'd made a pact with the devil. So, that's acted out in the song Titties and Beer with Terry Bozzio on drums. Okay, now here's what Frank's doing. He recognizes that the satellite environment will turn the planet into a concentration camp. That's like the worst projections of what's going to happen to the global village. Now, he's coming up with on his own, maybe because being an intelligent artist or genius, he's picking up the implications of the new environment just like McLuhan did. So if you have a pretty open, perceptive mind, you'll come up with the same ideas as you observe the planet in the 60s. So, but here's the interesting thing, is that Frank, he's not worried about a world government in the concentration camp. He's saying it will be run from the moon, which is what Beater said 13 years later. So you have this battle for the moon. That's the leverage point. Archimedes says, give me a place to stand and I can move the world. So Frank says, okay, you have this space race, you have these crummy politicians, these jerks, and they're fighting secretly to buy the moon, to own the moon, to control the planet from the moon. So that's why he calls his daughter Moon Unit, right? It's a political statement. And he writes a song called Concentration Moon, and in Time magazine he talks about the Uncle Meat movie being about the hippies gathered up and put in a concentration camp, in that case in the Grand Canyon, and they're saved by monsters from the monster movies. And you have here in this first screenplay, it's a battle for the moon, and they find this monster, the cosmic queen Celestion there, and she wants to take over the planet. So you have this simple image of a woman who's a greed queen and wants to be the owner of the Earth as a concentration camp from the moon.
Well, maybe the control is not from the moon, but from other types of satellites.
Yes. Yeah, it could be, but they seem to, and Frank will repeat this in Hunchentooth in 1972. In 1969, he now has the money to make the movie, and he gets Grace Slick to be in it, and Jim Morrison. They don't make the movie, but he takes the script from 1964 and he changes a bit, because now it's not Cape Smedley. There's an actual landing on the moon happening in the summer of 69, and this transcript is signed September 13th, 1969. So it's 2 months after, a month and a half or a month and 3/4 after the actual landing on McLuhan's birthday, July 20th, 21st, 1969. So he's dealing with the facts of an actual moon landing, where in 64 he's projecting it, and the senator's in charge of it. But all this story about Senator Gurney and Johnny, the corn-fed astronaut, is excluded from the 1969 version screenplay, because Frank just has footage of the Apollo landing. He just uses footage of what's available by 1969. So it's just a general government mission to get on the moon, and Billy is, like in the previous script, he's planning and does the same thing as happened in the first script of taking over the planet, but there's another dimension added, and this is what's extraordinary. Let me see. Are you still there, Bert?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So McLuhan is saying the global village is going to turn into a global theater. We're going to see Frank update the concentration camp theme with the global theater later. But in 69, he's talking about concentration moon, a monster which could save us, could turn against us, and then there's this other weird monster, the spider, and that can be a problem too. Remember, there is a spider in Hunchentooth. I think we talked about it a little while ago. So he's obsessed with the effects of the satellite environment. That's why I call him a satellite conductor. And I called him that, 20 years ago in Up the Orphan Annie, but I hadn't read these scripts to make it a good reason. So that's an example of me intuiting the right imagery. You know what I mean? The right statement. Yeah. I prophetically came up with it, and now I know why I should have come up with it. So it ends with an orgy. And there's Frank, educating the high school and telling the kids to start having orgies. Now, that's before the sexual revolution of the mid-'60s, just before it. But by the late 60s, the so-called journalistically sexual revolution has happened, so it's not an issue for Frank to make part of his programming in classroom, right? It's obsolete. It happened anyway.
Yes, but
so the right-wingers say...
Bodrilla asked, what are you doing after the orgy? It's not the meat sack orgy, but the orgy with your all 6 bodies that we are
right.
in.
That's what they don't know. Bojar didn't know that. But the other point about Zappa is what? The right wing, when he gets on Crossfire in the 80s, people like Pat, who's that guy who ran for Buchanan, Pat Buchanan, those guys, he's a spokesman for the right wing. He says, well, Frank, the sexual revolution you started. They think Frank started, and in a way he did. He was the first guy in pop culture to be out there blatantly advertising the groupies and celebrating groupies in rock and all that. In other sexual aspects, he was seen as a sexual anarchist. He celebrated, even though he was married, he celebrated having groupies. Let's see.
No, but he had this open polygamy or honest polygamy concept.
That's right. He had a couple of his girlfriends live with him while he was married to Gail.
He was in this environment, and that was the thing. Like, he was honest about it.
He was in this environment of rock, you mean?
Yes, of the groupies and...
Yeah. He was honest about it. That's right. Let me see. What else was going to say?
Even in an interview, he says his wife had to get the drugs to heal some types of sexual infections or things he catch.
Well, that's what she says when she first met him. He was filled with crabs. He said that Frank... she said that, before she met him, he had all these groupies around him and a prostitute or two. And she said that Frank and his girlfriends, spread the crabs all over Hollywood. That's what they were doing. So many people in Frank's orgy scene were infected.
The love of Celesta.
The philosophy of Celestia, constantly trying to get an orgy going. So what? I think there was another aspect. So the moon, the concentration camp. You see when he quits the mothers and he gets attention in October '69. He's in Time magazine. He says the concentration camp is run by a Colonel Sanders doll. The Kentucky Fried Chicken guy. A little doll in the glove compartment of a Volkswagen. That's a little more surrealistic than some politician like Senator Gurney running the camp or a queen of green skin running the camp. So he's using his movies to lay out other scenarios. Is there anything? And it's interesting how he has Beefheart being this guy who's monitoring everything, is interdimensional, and he's inviting the kids.
He materializes.
Yeah. These are, you could say this is some kind of science fiction, but done in other things, but there's something different about this, because Frank is what he is. I call it Ion.
We could write something about you, the same, like, here's this art scientist.
I'm an artist scientist.
On the environment.
I've got crabs. I've got fucking syphilis, diarrhea. I'm a fucking walking pollution.
So, with this non-physical thing.
I got my spider of destiny is fucking Ion. That's my monster. Get this fucking monster that can wipe out anything.
The cold fusion to conquer planet Earth.
That's pretty good. I hadn't actually made that clarify. Frank is literally writing the biography, Bob, because I told him to, because I had said I was fucking controlling Frank, as is presented in 1967 in my diaries. I have the meeting of all of them at Stanley's in the village, in the East Village, where Boward used to be a bartender. And
his master plan, written by angels in tiny charts.
Yes, the discarnate angels. Frank and Beefheart are acting out the angelic plan. Now, I want to go to the second one, 5 years later, and this is incredible. I don't have to review. It's the same scenario, and there are a couple of footnotes we can do until I get you to the incredible punchline. Let's see. Get to that. I know I ticked off a few things at the end.
Did he upgrade the plot like he did with the 64 and 69 version? With the one you get ready to read?
I'm looking at the 69 version, and it's upgraded.
Oh, okay.
It's changed. I didn't have to. I read it all through, and I didn't have to change anything, or I couldn't even annotate new things because it was the same script until you get to the end. So it's exactly the same thing, and he doesn't. You no longer have Johnny, the corn-fed astronaut, working for the government, Senator Gurney. That's gone, so Billy is competing against Cape Canaveral. He's calling it no longer Cape Smedley, it's Cape Canaveral now. You know, it's the actual, what NASA was doing from the actual place.
But I was thinking science fiction is nothing compared to the real art science non-fiction of what things are, according to Ian. It's like we are fallen gods going back to a place of power and all this. I mean, it's beyond any science fiction when we think about it.
That's right, and Eve McLuhan said that Finnegan's Wake was science fiction, and most science fiction was puny, and the science fictionists didn't know that Finnegan's Wake and Wyndham Lewis were science fiction. So it's Cape Kennedy now, the Cape Kennedy Apollo launch. Is that Cape Canaveral was? I know that was a term. That Cape Kennedy is what they called it later.
No, I think he's just playing with the words.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I think it was Cape Canaveral, and then Kennedy got assassinated, and they changed it. Let me just check that. Yeah, because when the twist came out, McLuhan went on TV, and he called it the Cape Canaveral Caper. So McLuhan was even saying there's something fishy going on at Cape Canaveral. He called it a caper. These guys getting these budgets to do 19th century research by physically going to the moon. Okay, Cape Canaveral. It says Cape. You guys don't know the term Cape Canaveral?
Yes, I know that.
That's the only one I know. I think that
it is Kennedy Space Center, though.
Oh.
Yeah, it says Cape Canaveral is a cape in Brevard County, Florida, near the center of the state's Atlantic coast, known as Cape Kennedy from 1963 to 73. It lies east of Merritt Island, separated from it by the Banana River. It is part of a region known as the Space Coast and is the site of the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. Since many U.S. spacecraft are launched from both the station and the Kennedy Space Center on Merritt Island, the terms Cape Canaveral, or the Cape have become metonyms that refer to both as the launch site of spacecraft. In homage to its spacefaring heritage, the Florida Public Service Commission allocated area code 321 to the Cape Canaveral area. 321, right? 321 countdown to the Cape Canaveral area. Other features of the Cape include the Cape Canaveral Lighthouse and Port Canaveral, one of the busiest cruise ports in the world. The city of Cape Canaveral lies just south of the Port Canaveral district. Mosquito Lagoon, the Indian River, Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, and Canaveral National Seashore are also features of this area. So it stopped being Cape Kennedy after 73. So don't know what happened after that. Okay, so it's now Cape Kennedy Apollo moon launch. Okay, so let's move along here. Exact same scenario. Beefheart's traveling around interdimensionally. He takes his mother to the moon, and they've got to contend with the captivity by the grunts of Billy and Cecil and Larry. And then and there's the spiders there, and same line, the eye. Sue swats the target, the eye. In reality, a chicken egg injected with food coloring is crushed, releasing a quantity of multicolored goo. That there. So the first tick-off is page 84 of a script that's only 92 pages. Let me just check page 50. I thought there was something on page 55. No, nothing on page 55. So, at the end, and it's going to be an exciting ending, guys.
A happy ending.
Okay, Celestia.
Well,
now I don't What?
A sappy ending.
You predict a zappy ending or sappy?
Sappy like Zappa. Sappy ending.
Okay, so 5 years later, there's a new element. Celestia has a secret trapdoor, and is a purple secret trapdoor. Now, Zappa has a lot of his environment at his home in purple. The purple secret trapdoor with the diamond-studded handle. And when the Apollo moon landing guys land on the moon, it describes them wandering around the moon, and they don't notice the cave and the secret trapdoor where this whole drama with Billy, Cecil, Larry, and Beefheart, and Celestia and the Grunts is happening. It says, let's see, Cecil and Larry with the girls. But Cecil decides not to join the orgy. In this one, where does he say that? Yeah, so Celestia falls in love with Celestia because she thinks Billy's dead. We did that. And she wants to repopulate the moon. And Celestia says, "Come with me, you beautiful earthling. Come, let's all return to the subterranean gardens and consummate our love feast." But now, here's where it's different. Cecil says quietly, "You guys just go on without me for now. I don't feel right, and maybe if I feel better in a little while, I'll make it over to the party. I'm really concerned about Uncle Billy." So he hasn't found Billy yet. So Celestia fondles Cecil. Celestia, in brackets, obviously horny, and she says, "But Earthling, our love feast, don't you want to go to a real lunar love feast?" Meanwhile, the other girls, friends, employees of Celestia, are kissing and mauling Larry, who really likes it a lot. The other girls kiss and maul Larry, who really likes it a lot. It's the juvenile simplicity sometimes in what he writes, jokingly, satirically. So the other girls squeal and writhe at the mere thought of this lunar love fest, or love feast. And then Celestia says, "Cool it, girls. Earthling, oh Earthling, my beloved Earthling, don't you want me?" Cecil, in brackets, not too convincingly goes, "You know I want you, green girl. Why don't you give me a little map to the party or something?" He says that not too convincingly, according to the script. So then Billy is in trouble. He thinks he's going to be killed, but let's see, Beefheart and Sue come in. Beefheart says, "I know I hear someone yelling." Sue says, that asthmatic wheeze. I know that. I hear it too. It must be a janitor. So it says, all the girls are waving goodbye to Cecil. still mauling Larry, who is trying to wave but is somewhat helpless in the clutches of the horny maidens. Cecil waves as they vanish in the distance. Before we do that, it says, remember, Celestia tells Cecil, the purple secret trapdoor with the diamond-studded handle. Then just keep going till you hit the crystal pool with the fragrantly scented, oxygen-producing giant subterranean ferns. Okay, just going back to where the astronauts, it describes the astronauts missing the trapdoor. Is that very far back? Let's see. Okay. Still looking for it. Yeah, it's, I don't know if I'm going to find it. The point is that the purple door is indicated earlier in the script because Celestia is watching the regular Apollo moon landing from the secret door cave. So I can't find it, but it's earlier. So now we come to the dramatic ending. So Celestia tells Cecil how to find the party, and then it says, Cecil waves as they vanish in the distance. As soon as Cecil is sure they are gone, he rips off the rubber mask he's been wearing all through the movie. The fiend beneath the mask is an unpleasant little man about 43 years old with a dingy blonde crew cut. He looks like an FBI agent. He tosses the mask aside and starts toward the unconscious king of the grunts. So Cecil's just been this dumb pony kid, right? All through the movie, this dumb assistant to Billy. All of a sudden, he's a fucking FBI agent. Okay, so that's page 84. And this shocking turn of events. And we got 92 pages. So for the next 8 pages, here's what happens. He's now called Cecil/Agent. Cecil/Agent grabs the Grunt King by his hair and kicks him viciously in the groin. The Cecil agent, the FBI agent guy goes, "Where's the old man?" The Grunt King, bleeding from the mouth. The Cecil agent's pissed off, and he employs some Marine Corps interrogation tactics. And he says to the Grunt King, "You want me to deal you a fatal stroke to the nose? Karate? Huh? You want me to hit your nose bone and make it go up into your brain and make you die?" The Grunt King, semi-conscious, goes, Now, back in the execution chamber where Billy is trapped, he hears the mumblings and footsteps of Beefheart and Sue as they find their way into the chamber. His eyes are closed in fear. He does not know who or what is approaching. In the previous script, 5 years before, he's tied up with Johnny. But there's no Johnny in the 1969 script, so it's just Billy by himself, captured, ready to be killed in the torture thing. But things have happened that interrupted that happening. But now, somebody's entering the chamber again, and he's really paranoid. So Billy, devoid of all hope, goes, "Oh no, this is it. Oh Heavenly Creator, deliver me in my hour of torment, in my final..." But then Sue yells, "We're here to save you." Beefheart and Sue dash up to Billy. And Beefheart smugly says, "That's right, Billy, I'm Captain Beefheart, and this is my loyal assistant, Sue. I'm magic, and I can make myself invisible and fly through time and space and other dimensions, and that's how I got here. I can take..." It's actually saying more than the time and space and other dimensions. I don't know if that was other dimensions was part of the previous one. "I can take other people along with me if I want to, and that's how she got here. I bet you're awfully glad." Now, in the early months with Ion, we've heard that little plan that Ion laid on me, that we're going to go up in the Grand Malay and jump off the fucking hotel and go to other worlds, and not like the Mayans get stuck in other worlds or not return. We're going to return. All right, that was my first assignment. I didn't tell anybody that for years. I kept that one secret.
Are we going to a cave?
No, I don't know where we're going. We're going into other worlds, led by me.
Because Zappa always has this cave
Right, that's the hollow entrance to the other world. He does say back in 64, I'm magic and I can make myself invisible. I'm magic and make myself visible and fly through time and space and other dimensions. Oh, okay, so he says that back in 64. So no new addition there. Okay, so they save Billy. Now, the Cecil/agent, he's looking for Billy, and he's throttling the old king of the grunts. The king is looking very wasted and beaten up. Cecil/agent, unbelievably vicious. Where is he, you communist son of a bitch? The grunt king, gesturing toward the door. He's in the execution chamber over there. Gasp. And the grunt king dies. So now Beefheart says, gesturing proudly, our work is done here now, and we must be off to my secret mountain retreat to watch over good people everywhere and keep them safe from danger and harm and the forces of evil. And so, in parting, may I say this, it sure as heck has been real beautiful and quite an experience making it up to here, to the moon, to save you, Billy. And I think everything's going to work out just fine for you in the future, and I wish you all the best of luck. So long for now, old-timer, and God bless you. So Beefheart and Sue dematerialize. Now, that's what happened in the previous script, but then Beefheart secretly goes to the orgy rather than back home, right? So, let's see, is that what he says exactly? What he says at the end when they save Billy? Yeah, work is done here. And so in parting, I say, it's been a real pleasure to save you two fellows, but it's no longer two fellows, so he says, and so it sure as heck, he doesn't say heck in the first one. It sure as heck has been real beautiful, he doesn't say that, and quite an experience making up here to the moon to save you, Billy. In 64, he says, it's been a real pleasure to save you two fellows, and I know everything, so he adds this bit about it's been real beautiful and quite an experience. That's sort of like hippie talk, which is now in the media 5 years later, saying things are beautiful. And everything's going to work out just fine for you. And so long for now, fellows. But in 69, he says, so long for now, old-timer, and God bless you. He says, God bless you in 64 also. Okay. So we know Beefheart ends up at the orgy. And that's sort of a happy ending, right? And they're just hoping the high school kids come to the orgy. But now, here is Cecil has been fooling us all along, and now Beefheart is heading off to the secret retreat. And I'm saying, he'll just end up at the orgy. And then it says, a medium shot, Billy showing door in background. Billy is completely confused. Beefheart and Sue said they came to save him, but now he's still shackled to the torture rack. They didn't get him off the torture rack. He hears the door from the Grunt King's throne room creak open and strains to look over his shoulder to see who it is. He sort of thinks it's Captain Beefheart coming back, but it turns out to be Cecil/agent. So he enters the room and says, that you, Sweeney? Billy, startled. Yes, of course. I'm Billy Sweeney, King of the Moon. Is there anything I can do for you? The Cecil agent. Are you guys still there for this climax?
Yeah.
For the climax.
Cecil agent approaches quietly. An air of mysterious doom pervades. We hear Cecil's footsteps and Billy's labored breathing. Cecil confronts Billy. Billy goes, who are you? And Cecil says matter-of-factly, it's all over, Sweeney. We've been checking you out for quite some time now. Remember, this is the government who did the official space landing, and they're pissed off that Billy got there first. Billy, who's confused, says, what? I don't get it. Who are you? Now, Cecil agent is staring psychotically into the camera. Cecil agent, in brackets, cold and sinister, says, the United States government does not like dreamers. They are dangerous. They cause confusion. Now, in 69, Zappa is interviewed in Circus magazine, and I think it's in there, it's like the first time you see it. He says, we make an environment special for dreamers and is not hostile to dreamers. So Zappa saying, there's the programming, we make an environment. Can you see, Oprah saying, I'm here to help change the world, make it a better place. No, does Oprah go, we're here making an environment to program you into a better situation? Well, that's what Frank says. We are making an environment for all those dreamers that the rest of the world is hostile towards. So right that summer he's saying it in 1969, and then he's going to write this in the script. The United States government does not like dreamers. They are dangerous. They cause confusion, ferment, and sometimes even happiness. You dare to dream the great American You dare to dream the great American dream. The one where you start on the bottom and work your way to the what?
The great American dream.
Yeah, Dean, yes. Dream.
The great
now remember, in 64, Billy is a janitor, but he plans to work his way up to the top of the factory he's working for, but then the government takes away the contract, and Billy's pissed, but it's not going to stop him going to the top. He just changes his vehicle, and he makes a moonshot so he can get to the top via the moon, which is a modern update, Frank, seeing as the effects of the satellite environment. You don't want to take over the world. You want to take over the moon. Now, what are you saying, the great American Dean? What did you say?
Yes, like your last name. Dr. Dean.
Not my last name, Carolyn's last name. Or her
Dr.
fake
Dean.
last name. Remember, her real last name is not Dean. That's named after Garrett. You dared to dream the great American dream. The one where you start on the bottom and work your way to the top. You wanted to match wits with the system in capital letters. You challenged its supreme authority, in capital letters, its supreme authority. Defied its universal mediocrity. Billy Sweeney defied, in big letters, its universal mediocrity. All because you were a dreamer in capital letters. The great American dream is phased out and permanently canceled. On behalf of the government of the United States of America, the business community, all organized religion, mass media, and the armed forces, I perform this execution. It says Billy is terrified. Close up on Billy. He's terrified. The Cecil agent shoots Billy 5 times in the chest and stomach with an Army .45 while Billy stares in disbelief directly into the camera. Smoke from the shots enter frame. Billy bleeds from mouth and nose as his head falls to one side. Billy dies. Hardly a happy ending, Roxy. Billy's fucking dead. That didn't happen in 1964.
Damn.
Now, here's the connecting link. You go to the Uncle Meat booklet, put out the same time as the script being is written, and there's a picture of an artichoke, but it has Frank Zappa's face on it. And it says, I've just been killed by the government because I knew too much. Frank, or a Frank simulation, or a reference to Frank, is has been killed. That's the level of Frank that's Billy Sweeney, right? The world is becoming quite paranoid, I guess, for Frank by 69. He's nervous. He thinks he's going to be killed, so he has himself act out in that movie. He didn't have that in 64. It wasn't that doom-filled. Like he says in the page before, Cecil agent approaches quietly. An air of mysterious doom pervades. We hear Cecil's footsteps and Billy's labored breathing. Cecil confronts Billy. So now, very sad. I bawled for 2 hours when I read this. Billy was killed. I couldn't take it. I almost committed suicide. This is a horrible ending. I didn't see it coming. I had fantasies of more orgies. But it says, the Cecil agent, I forgot to finish the sentence. He says, on behalf of the government, look who he lists, the government of the United States of America, the business community, all organized religion, mass media, and the armed forces. That's 5 quadrants, 5 sections. I perform this execution, ... to keep the free world safe from scum like you and even the moon. So we're going to keep the moon free. I think that's the way. To keep the free world safe from scum like you and even the moon. I guess even keep the moon safe. So Billy, the scum fucker, dies. So then you have a medium shot of Cecil agent with Billy slumped in the background. Then the Cecil agent says, this is a recording. And you freeze frame. And so Cecil is a fucking recording. Freeze frame and dissolve to Beefheart in the watch hall room. Beefart's not at the orgy. He's gone back to the secret mountain reclusive place center. And he has, it says, we see an extreme close-up of the dossier marked Sweeney, shown earlier in the film. We pull, remember he showed that to somebody. We pull back to a medium close-up of Beefheart as he holds the dossier, studies its cover briefly, finally reinserting it into the slot in the watch-all machine. So this Beefheart doesn't care about Sweeney, or he doesn't know, but he's watching everything. I think he should know. He pushes a button. The machine swallows the dossier, and the view screen lights up. On the screen, we see the frozen Cecil/agent posed in front of the lifeless Sweeney. Beefheart looks at his wristwatch, takes a drink of Pepsi, and pushes another button marked auto-destruct. So Beefheart doesn't even care that Sweeney's dead. The sound effects in the environment around Beefheart, I mean, he's supposed to be in a secret, well, maybe he's not in a secret retreat, he's at his home, because his parents, it says roller derby on TV in the living room, Sue and Glenn cheering and raving their favorites. Glenn farts. Sue tells him to stop it. Glenn says he can't help it when he gets excited, and he farts again. So that's the what's happening around Beefheart. What does he call it? Secret Mountain Retreat is what he calls it. Okay, so maybe because Beefheart has many worlds, he can have the retreat right in his bedroom, right? He's in a different world the parents aren't aware of. So then it has a medium shot frozen on Cecil Agent with Billy slumped in the background. Cecil/agent's face, his face melts, exposing wires, worms, little clocks, and motors. It's kind of like the cover of Burnt Winnie Sandwich, which comes out in 1970. This is a surrealistic collage. So his face exposes, as it melts, exposes wires, worms, little clocks, and motors. His clothes fall away. His arms come off, and oil leaks out of the stumps. The remainder of his fuselage bursts into flames. So what do you think of that? What an ending for the government agent. So I guess even like the victors get nailed.
It's like a Bob diary entry. It's like Bob is in this secret island, naked, controlling people from his Skype.
That's right. That's right. I'm controlling people through my Skype. So it
and
says
doing this obscure radio program on an obscure.
That's right. I won the Secret Council 10 in 1988 by having an obscure election in my obscure radio show on CKLN. Yeah. Holeopathic.
You're ready to solve the gulf. And now,
yes, I control the new gulf. Anything, no new gulf will be rebuilt without my say-so. I'm like Billy Sweeney. He went for the moon. I fucking owned the gulf. I went for the real stuff. I bought and took majority shareholder of the gulf. So it says Beefheart's in his watch-all. That's watch-all. In his watch-all room. He's surveilling everything. It says Beefheart turns away from the watch-all view screen, which shows a burning Cecil agent visibly dying. Beefheart goes to his closet, well, not dying, just he's a machine. He goes to his closet, and after fumbling through some clothes, whips out a costume that looks just like the original Cecil garb that Cecil agent, the machine, was wearing. Beefheart strips to his underpants. That is when we notice a peculiar line around the base of his neck. Beefheart's neck. There's a line. He dresses himself in the new costume and rips off the rubber mask he's been wearing all through the film, revealing the fact that Captain Beefheart was the real Cecil all along. What an ending. So everything drastic is happening in the last scene. So it turns out Beefheart was wearing... that Cecil was wearing a Captain Beefheart costume. In the sound environment, more farts and roller derby and excited participation in the living room. So Glenn and Sue don't even notice that they don't even have a kid. The kid is a fake kid, and it's really Cecil. So Cecil is now called Beefheart/Cecil. The other one was Cecil/Agent. So Beefheart/Cecil tidies up a bit, scratches his head vigorously, in brackets, to get the circulation going from wearing the mask, holds his shoulders back, takes a deep breath, and dematerializes, leaving us with a view of the smoldering Cecil/Agent on the view screen. And we dissolve to the lunar surface, and let's see, this script has we're on page 90, only got 3 pages left. Dissolve to the lunar surface, night, and there's stock footage. Oh yeah, here's where I was looking for the astronauts. The Apollo astronauts cavort gaily with their scientific gear and bound past the stiff plastic American flag. So you have the stock footage of the guys on the moon. And then it says special effect. The jostling real-life camera on the moon will pan to a nearby crater. It says real life, in quotes. The jostling real-life camera on the moon will pan to a nearby crater. Freeze frame on crater. I guess this is the camera that the astronauts took. Oxbury Inn. Is that a film term, to Oxbury Inn? Oxbury Inn, secret purple trapdoor with diamond-studded handle, which is just closing. The American moon men do not see this. Their, quote, real-life technical monologue continues over this effect. So he's implying this is a fake moon landing? The jostling real-life camera on the moon will pan to a nearby crater, and then you see somebody going into the secret door. And then it says the American moon men do not see this. Their real-life, in quotes, technical monologue continues over this. I guess they're talking the way people saw it in the greatest educational classroom setting ever, McLuhan said. The big hidden ground of the moonshot, the moon landing, was the fact the whole world watched it in a televised classroom. It was the greatest educational program ever, said McLuhan. Their real-life technical monologue continues. So I guess that's just him talking technically that they faked in Nevada, right? According to the Evergreens. Right. So there's this black cave. Now, it shows Beefheart/Cecil closing secret trapdoor. Beefheart/Cecil materializes with his hand on the latch of the secret trapdoor. He closes it, dusts himself off, and walks through the tunnel in the direction of a warm, glowing light and voices with hot joy in them. So he walks toward the orgy. Walks through the tunnel in the direction of a warm, glowing light and voices out like this, with hot joy in them. Ever seen voices described that way? Hot joy in them? Hot joy in them. Sound, hatch clank, I guess the door clank, and distant orgy. That's the sound background. Then on page 91 it says, wide shot of orgy with Beefheart/Cecil entering. All the green girls and Larry are nude, carousing shamelessly about the subterranean garden. Staging should be sexy, so here's the instructions. Staging should be sexy, but reasonably wholesome, verging on naive. Beefheart/Cecil enters, already stripping his clothes off. Remember, in the previous one, he just winked, and we didn't know if he took his clothes off. But here he is. Celestia, who's in love with Cecil, sees him, goes hotly, Earthling, oh Earthling, you've come to me at last. Larry says, hiya, Cecil. Beefheart/Cecil says, hiya, Larry, let's jump him. And Beefheart/Cecil has all his clothes off now. He and Larry ravage the flock of lovelies with depraved teenage abandon. So they gangbang all the girls, the green girls. Beefheart/Cecil and that means he's ignoring, he's including Celestia. Beefheart, now this would be, the actual Don Vliet might be playing this guy. Who do we have? In the script, Celestia is Grace Slick. Did I tell you this? So Grace Slick of the Jefferson Airplane is Celestia. The King of the Grunts is Don Preston, one of the longtime members of the Mother's Invention. Gorgonzola and some of the grunts, they got names, Gorgonzola, Strinzel, they're members of Beefheart's band, Rocket Morton and Zoot Rollo and Victor Hayden. And there's something called the Orcs, played by Jeff Rochelle. I looked that up. That's some kind of fantasy, science fiction literature out of Doctor Who or something. You ever heard of the Orcs? They're part of some children's show or something, or science fiction bullshit. I don't know. Anyways, Orcs is played by one guy. Billy Sweeney is played by Bob Guy. I remember that guy. He was at the... Oh, that's me. Bob Guy. Holy fuck. I didn't realize that.
Bob Guy.
Bob Guy. They don't know Bob's last name. They just call him Guy. He's a Bob Guy. It's just Bob, Dobbs, Marshall. Never know what the fuck he is. Bob Guy. Billy Sweeney. Now, there is an actual Bob Guy who made some recordings, I think, at the Cucamonga studio. I'm not sure, but I think that's an embed for me. Guess who plays Beefart's father? Howlin' Wolf, for fuck's sake. Who Beefart always sounded like Howlin' Wolf, so I guess he was Howlin' Wolf's son. So that's a nice joke by Zappa. The father is played by Howlin' Wolf, and Captain Beefheart's played by Don, and Sue's played by Sue. So Beefheart. Now, Beefheart was Cecil. And Cecil is Jeffrey Cotton, another member of the Beefheart band. So it's we don't know which guy is Beefheart Cecil. It looked like Beefheart, so Don played that part, but then in the end it's now Jeffrey Cotton. All right. And Bob Guy got killed. That's not good. Okay, so now here's Beefheart and Larry ravaging the flock of lovelies with depraved teenage abandon. Beefheart Cecil applies most of his energy to Celestia. They make out and everything. The sound is hot pants rock and roll music. Hot pants is, I thought, like 71, 72, but maybe in L.A. they've already got hot pants. Hot pants rock and roll music. The orgy sequence builds in intensity. Quick flashes of the dreary work on the lunar surface. So it flashes back to the Apollo astronauts. And they're doing dreary work, oblivious to the orgy. There's a plastic flag. Nixon's phone message to the moon. That's pretty boring. And interior shots from Beefheart's living room, complete with farts and roller derby, are all intercut with the stylized freak scene in the subterranean garden. So this mixture of the mainstream bullshit Nevada fake moon landing with boring phone calls from Nixon, interspersed with the orgy in the subterranean garden. And the credits start to play over this crazed montage. As the last credit slide fades away, we see Beefheart Cecil locked in a passionate embrace with Celestia. We can't see their buns, but we know what they're up to. So we can't see their bum screwing. But we know what they're up to. Larry is passionately kissing and fondling the tits of a lovely green maiden. We zoom into an astonishing extra close-up of Larry's thumb as it depresses the maiden's left nipple. So we see Larry's thumb working the maiden's left nipple. Freeze frame. Oxberry in fluorescent tattoo forming a neon crescent above areola. So on the nipple, a neon crescent is forming. Oxberry in fluorescent tattoo, a tattoo forming a neon crescent above areola, and it says auto-destruct. We saw that happen to Beefheart blew up the Cecil agent. Meanwhile, Celestia, she's passionately saying, Earthling, oh my beloved, dearest Earthling, hold me, kiss me, thrill me. And then there's a sound. It's an obnoxious buzzer. Unfreeze frame past the auto-destruct sign on the nipple, and Larry continues to fondle. Celestia is continuing to be worked over by Beefheart, or Beefheart Cecil, and she goes, my dearest darling, my Earthling, all these years of hot longing and waiting for. Then there's a close-up of Celestia and Beefheart Cecil. Her eyes are closed as she kisses Beefheart Cecil's cheek, which is melting away, exposing wires and worms, etc. Holy shit. Cecil's a fucking organic robotoid. She continues to kiss this mess obliviously as the film does its final fade-out. She doesn't even care that she's kissing a melting robot. And Celestia is saying, she was saying, all these years of hot longing and waiting for an earthling such as you. Together we'll start anew. A beautiful life for both of us among the stars in the heavens. Love and peace and kindness and hot thrills nightly. And then it fades out with Celestia all happy that she's going to repopulate the moon and Beefheart's melting away as a robot. The end. Now, how's that for a shocking ending? You know what it means? I didn't say happy ending. What did you say? Did you say happy ending?
I said that's a happy ending.
Yeah, what a fucking ending.
Yeah.
So, tell me what it means.
The metaphor of the making love.
That's right. Now, this is 1969. Frank is writing about Beater's organic robotoids 10 years before Beater goes into it. Remember, President Carter's organic robotoid. All kinds of people are replaced in 79 in the battles between the Bolsheviks and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Zionists. So here's Frank, 5 years, from 64 to 69. Remember he said in the liner notes to the We're Only for the Money in 67, he said he had some awful premonitions, right? And the premonitions were going to continue. So Zappa, being the monster man he is, he could see through everything. Everything looked so fake and ridiculous. The hippie counterculture was stupid. The elections were stupid. Everything, and he decided that the machines had taken over. And so the title is Captain Beefheart versus the Grunt People. It's one organic robotoid android meme fighting another part of the android meme. Am I wrong? Isn't this pretty astounding?
Yeah, it is.
That's another sign of Frank Zappa showing hidden ground.
Yes. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And now we're going to get to them or us. What happens in the big book? I wonder, what is? Should we take a break and play a song?
Yes.
You want to hear a Zappa song?
Yes.
Something funny.
I'll play. Okay. Did you hear the music in the first couple hours, Roxy?
No, I was sleeping.
Right. So, because I knew you were coming later, I didn't wake you up for the beginning. So you slept in. So I played Briefcase Boogie, Brown Moses, and Wistful Wit a Fistful, 3 songs from Thingfish. So I'm going to play the fourth song, Drop Dead. It's near the end of the movie. Rhonda and Harry, the yuppie couple that went to the play.
Get happy or drop dead.
What'd you say? What was the first one?
Get happy or drop dead.
Yes, get happy or drop dead, right. Now, let's see. There's all kinds of typing going on. We'll have to deal with that later. So, this goes on, I think, for 7 minutes. So this is a long thing. When you get to the last third, about the 5:20 mark, listen closely to what Rhonda says. Okay, so... What?
Rhonda is an inflatable sex doll.
Oh, you're looking up something?
No, I'm saying Rhonda is...
how do you know?
I read it somewhere.
Okay.
She's
well,
an
actually...
inflatable sex doll, just like the other guys were robots. The Rhonda character is a sex doll.
No, it's more complicated. There is Rhonda and Harry, but there's also an artificial Rhonda. And Harry is a boy. And this is not the sex doll Rhonda. This is the real Rhonda. I'm pretty sure. But we'll review that when we go through the book. So, have I got everything up, ready to go? Yeah. Oh. Yes, now I got that blocked. Do I need to unblock that? Whoa. Can you hear me, guys?
What's going on?
Oh, wait a minute.
Sounds like Bob talking.
Can you guys hear me?
No.
Yes. We're in another planet.
I just want to read you what you missed.
With brown... what?
I'm going to read you what you missed. Rhonda said we were wearing little transmitters, little receivers in their severe terminal buns. Their hairstyle was buns. We even had room left over in there for all of our most favorite little embroidered, delicate, secretly feminine, childlike, helpless, pathetic, sentimental, totally useless, personal girl things that smelled like the stuff they put in the toilet paper. And then you heard it came back in at this point, and she goes, "You played golf. You watched football. You drank beer. We evolved. We only look like Wandas and Rondas. We are superb, Harry. We are sublime. We are perfect in every way." So I will now start up. That's about where we were.
Here, I am
go back. Yes, right. Forcelings. Or maybe not.
Forcelings.
Inets might be better. Okay, so we got that here. Put that back up there. Just a second. All right, this fucking Bill's network can't take the intensity. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
We are the ones with the strength. We are the completion. We are the people who are not you.
So, what can we, she says, you are the all-American cocksucker jizzing. See, Harry went homo, gay or something, or I think he fell in love with one of the Mammy Nun dolls. Jizzing all over your leather cocksucker costume after beating the snot out of yourself with a rubber mammy. Yeah, he beat the mammy on himself. I simply can't respect you, Harry. You are no good. Go ahead, smell the pen. Go on. I'm wiping it, Harry. There you go. During this, the lights have dimmed, leaving Rhonda in a spotlight. Harry crawls into the spotlight circle and assumes the traditional pose of the RCA dog, you know, the record player dog, begging to sniff the pen. Rhonda moves it higher and higher, torturing him. His nose finally reaches it. Francesco stands nearby, fetishing Abdullah, and one of the little mammies. The track for No Not Now is played backwards. The first words are meant to be Harry's reaction to the odor of the writing utensil. Then it says, not really Harry's voice, and he says Epsom sauce backwards. Then Thingfish comes in. So hopefully this will be heard.
Ground control. Kate Kennedy. We're lost in space.
I hear you. Yeah.
Hello.
Why can't I hear anything? What did I do wrong?
Well,
we hear you, Bob, but it's like you're in the background. You're not online.
I know.
There is a dimensional problem. Get me a Pepsi or something.
Okay, well, I'm going to... I gotta start the song over again. It's a good song. It's a good song. You know, it's worth
this is the sound of the dynamo hum.
Yes.
Here's
Here's
This is how a dynamo.
Bob, your voice is still in the background. We don't hear everything.
What?
We hear your voice, but it's like you're in the background. It's not like you're online.
Oh, yeah, because I'm using the other mic. Yeah, don't worry about it.
He's fucking some green girl in the moon.
Yeah, that's right.
Stop masturbating. You're on duty.
I'm using on Harry's chest. Okay, so let's resume.
Okay.
I'm going to mute you guys.
This is the sound of the moon ballet. Electronic moon ballet from
Mumbai, India.
Adorned with the laughing of Bert.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Bob,
yeah.
we don't hear all your words. We can't hear all your words.
Stop the love feast. Come back.
I figured out what's going on here. Okay, mute that. Bring up that. Put that down there. Okay. And then turn me off. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. That
all right.
Electronic.
You know what happened? You know what happened? This is in the book, and I'm reading the lyrics in the book. It fucking ended because the song ended. I thought we were going to hear the whole rest of the play. I forgot we were just hearing the song. You know what I mean? The reason it stopped is the song stops, and then so I've got to read you the script. Well, we'll do that when we get there. We got to go back to the beginning, but I was expecting the whole book would be musicalized, but no, we just heard the song, and then it stopped, and then there's a script here, but that's not audible, right? No, it's not audible. Okay, so was that funny enough? You wanted a funny song? Was that good enough for you? Did you hear that whole women's lib scenario? The women's conspiracy? While you became lawyers and accountants and read Playboy and bought a pipe, there's a direct attack on me, bought a subgenius pipe. We planned and dreamed and fucked our briefcases while you weren't looking. Yes, Harry, that's right. And we've actually been able to reproduce ourselves that way for years, Harry. But you never knew, did you, you worm? This would be that thing, somebody's list, Emily's List. You know what that is, Bert? Emily's List?
That was in the news a couple months ago.
Yeah, all the boomer women who got into politics and got some executive positions, they all formed a tribe and started electing politicians, female politicians. So it's the tribe of women, Emily's List. They're very influential, so supposedly now. You know what I mean? They have some kind of power in the obsolete institutions while the CIA continues its surveillance. And so this is describing that. And Frank is predicting this. I don't think when did Emily's List form? Let's just check that for a minute. What year did Emily's List? Emily's List.
85.
Our history. They're pro-choice democratic women. A network. An evolution, a movement. Look at this. Emily's List, the largest national resource for women in politics, was created by Ellen Malcolm in 1985. They were influenced by Frank. This came out in 1984, and they read it and said, that's what we got to do. We got to form a secret society. And it's designed to fund campaigns for pro-choice democratic women and strategically torchlight the balance of power in our government. The name Emily's List was an acronym for Early Money is Like Yeast, i.e. it makes the dough rise. That's the pun that Ian's always using. Jesus Christ, Ian's been quoting the Union of Feminists. The saying is a reference to a convention of political fundraising that receiving major donations early in the race is helpful in attracting other later donors. Early money is like yeast. Now we know Emily is more than a slogan. She's a candidate, a voter, an operative, a member. If you sought out this website because you want to ignite progressive change in your community, Emily is probably you. And as catalysts of change, we've changed too. Today's Emily list goes beyond fundraising with a strategic approach to recruiting. They went beyond fundraising now to recruiting candidates, winning elections, and mobilizing voters. We are a driving force behind many of the campaign victories that bring the progressive decision-making power of pro-choice Democratic women to office. In 1985, 25 women, Rolodexes in hand, gathered in Eleanor Malcolm's basement to send letters to their friends about a network they were forming to raise money for pro-choice Democratic women candidates. So there's a picture of Emily, or Ellen Malcolm. So this is what Frank inspired a year before. She said, Rhonda says, we had special atomic glasses made by women optometrists who promised never to tell. We learned how to hide secret stuff wrapped up in the middle of those severe terminal buns we wear. Little transmitters, Harry, little receivers. Oh, don't pretend to be surprised, Harry. We even had room left over in there for all of our most favorite little embroidered, delicate, secretly feminine, childlike, helpless, pathetic, sentimental, totally useless, personal girl things that smell like the stuff they put in the toilet paper. You played golf. You watched football. You drank beer. We evolved. We only look like Wandas and Rondas. We are superb, Harry. We are sublime. We are perfect in every way. And you? What are you? You're the little all-American cocksucker, jizzing all over your leather cocksucker costume after beating the snot out of yourself with a rubber mammy. I simply can't respect you, Harry. You are no good. Go ahead. Smell the pen. Go on. I'm wiping it, Harry. There you go. And so during this, the lights have dimmed, leaving Rhonda in a spotlight. Harry crawls into the spotlight circle and assumes the traditional pose of the RCA dog, begging to sniff the pen. Rhonda moves it higher and higher, torturing him. His nose finally reaches it. Francesco Zappa stands nearby, fetishing Abdullah. Then the track for No Not Now, played backwards, happens. And the first words are meant to be Harry's reaction to the odor of the writing utensil. I guess it smells like Eben sauce to him. Epsom sauce. So that leads to the last 3 pages, but we'll leave that for when we get there. Would you like another Zappa music?
Yes, I was reading about Rhonda. Yeah. She evolves from the younger Rhonda is like a rubber sex doll.
Yeah, right.
And when she's older, she becomes a feminist, fascist.
Right.
And Harry becomes homosexual as a result of the women's liberation movement. So that's why she's insulting this little man.
Yes, he's been fucking everything in the theater, and she's been outraged throughout most of it, so she's pissed off. And I think that's the last scene of them. That's the last you hear of them, because it goes over to, there's a little more Ron. No. Yes, a little more Rhonda, and then it's Francesco and other important people, like the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. They end the thing. So, what do we do? So we're going. Are you guys ready to hear about Hunchentooth? Are you ready to go to the next script?
Yeah.
It won't take us long. You're getting the point here that you have a concentration moon. I should play that. Let's play Concentration Moon. That song. Okay, so that would be over here. Album by artist. We're only for the money. Scrolling down.
I was thinking all these hybrids of robotic, he's actually seeing all the things you're saying about the Android name and all this human-invented technology.
Exactly. That's what I'm impressed with. Is we're going to see that in the next, after Hunchentooth in the book. It's pretty amazing what he lays out.
and it's funny because this living technology behave as bad as humans. They do all this.
Yeah.
You could think.
Okay, so I'm going to play Concentration Moon. Make sure everything's... this is from We're Only for the Money, so this was written in 67, or recorded in 67, released in 68. That goes there. And I think this is it. No, I didn't hear the sound.
Nothing is. How did Bob was...
Just a second. What's going on? What happened? You can't hear it?
No.
No. There has
nothing
been
at all came through.
I blocked something. Sorry, I'm glad you spoke up.
The moonbeams are sabotaging.
You heard a minute and 19 seconds of the song, and you didn't hear it. I heard it. So let's start over again. I must have clicked on that stupid mic, that one. I forgot to unmute that one. Okay, we're going to do it over again. Concentration Moon. Okay, listen to the lyrics.
Not playing.
Not playing? What the fuck do I have to do here? Sound is in headphone position. Volume is up. What are we doing wrong? Oh, maybe it has to be on Soundflower. Oh, because it's coming from my system. I figured it out. Okay. I forgot this is not on Bill's template. Coming from my computer.
Against the volume.
Yeah, I'm muting you too. Email me if you fucking can't hear it. Okay, here we go. Oh no, we have to move it back. Then again, I'm not going to mute you. It'll probably screw up, so I better hear you screaming. Okay, I unmuted you. If it go, come on now, let's be polite. Let's be polite and listen to this. I'll compromise. Okay, Concentration Moon. Wish I was back in the alley. Listen to this. Hello.
Hello.
Oh.
I can be heard.
What was that last song, Bob? What was that last song with that Fuzz and Wah-Wah?
That's called Deathless Horsey. A horse that doesn't die. Deathless Horsey.
That was the pony sent to the space that was dying.
That's right. That's right.
Deathless.
You know, when he did the theater piece at Garrick Theater in the spring and summer of 67, it was called Absolutely Free, Pigs and Repugnant. So the pigs are, you'll see, an important thingamajig. And then he has a lot about ponies in the content of Lumpy Gravy. So pigs and repugnant, or pigs and ponies, that's the dialectic. And ponies goes way back to Cecil running the ponies ride in '64 in Cap Beefheart versus the Grunt People. So this punny pig dialectic. So Deathless Horsey is from 1981, Shut Up and Play Your Guitar, a series, 3 albums that Frank put out with just nothing but Zappa instrumentals, guitar instrumentals. So that was one of them. So let's see if there's anything interesting uttered in the chat line before we go to Hunch and Toot. Utney, we did that. Eric Utney. Minimax says Trump is a truth teller because not financially dependent. We did that. Trump is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Still looking, catching up. So my foster daughter, when I said we can't use the word God, creator, divine, and then she said, how can creator be limited? I said something, and she said, expected you would say that, but if we are speaking in words, what are the best words to describe ascended post-humans? L-Truth says smotelings. Eliza says, or the smoters. And then they start bragging. There, Bob, we came up with the new name for gods, the smoters. Laughing my ass off. So they're going nuts over their own creativity, which has only had one syllable. Now somebody starts objecting to it. And then the new title, Post-Humanism Smoters. Oh no, it's going to get longer than that. The post-humanism smoters of hypertexting. Then L-Truth said, this is good music here. Madeline goes, yeah, this is great. Madeline, I thought angels were the smoters. L-Truth, yeah, Liza, we can't take angels' function from them, can we? Madeline, thou shalt not kill. Got to stick an angel on them, says Madeline. Minimax goes, smotelings, yes. He votes for that. Madeline laughs. E-Truth laughs. Minimax goes, attentionaires. Attentionaires. Minimax, ascended post-humans. Yeah, we don't do the smoting. We order the angels to do it. But NVR in anger. Someone 224 goes, hoops. And then Eliza says, I'm trying to come up with a good name for the post-God. So put it in your suggestions. L-Truth says, oh no, 224 starts flirting with the foster daughter. Empress, I got a brand new clothesline. L-Truth says blank. Sarah says, let's play word association. Someone says, such a cool song. Little Sarah says, Zappa, what do you think of? And she says, okay now, Yemen, and you think. And then Little Sarah says, I wonder if the dissonant ambient funk was recorded separately from the dialogue. So they're talking about some stuff we were playing a long time ago. So we're up to date on that. We can go back into our bubble and explain everything. So you guys ready for Hunch and Toot?
Hunch and Toot, yes.
Yes. That was the horny spider, right?
Yeah.
What? What about the spider?
Hunch and Toot.
The Hunch and Toot was the horny spider.
The giant spider. Yeah. In the cast of characters it says, we got Drachma, Queen of Cosmic Greed, an evil 7.5-foot space girl, so we're back on the moon, who lives on a mysterious unknown planet, well, not the moon, but similar, and who obviously has a sinister plan to conquer the very Earth itself. So is this Frank afraid of women's lib or something? He keeps projecting these women that want to take over the planet. These monster women. And Hunchentute is the giant spider. And she is Drachma's miserable, hyper-negroid, harmonica virtuoso love slave. Harmonica virtuoso. Dirk is a shifty earthling con man of the future and part-time religious fanatic who leads a group of mutant alpha meditators known as the Forcelings and also plays a little trumpet. Yes, you've identified.
My leader. Yes.
Okay, so did I read you the details of the setup, the instrumentation? I think I read some of it, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay, so Hunchentute's costume headgear will provide concealment for wireless mic number 1, which is received and processed through the first ring modulator to make his voice deeper and gruffer before it is broadcast through the PA. Drachma's costume breastplate will contain a sort of cosmic telephone operator's microphone holder for wireless mic number 2 to be processed through phaser 1 for vocals and or the balance modulator for dialogue. The balance modulator, or Moog frequency shifter, has a stereo output which will enable Drachma's voice to ascend in pitch on the right side of the theater and descend in pitch on the left side simultaneously, providing a suitably mysterious effect which is easily controlled. I remember reading that. The orchestra is subject to mixing and processing through the 2 voltage-controlled filters, the 2 envelope generators, the 2 voltage-controlled amplifiers, the 4-channel tape delay, in brackets Sony Quad 1/4-inch machine, and the EMT reverb. Sectional outputs may be governed by keying from other voices or instruments via the keypexes. The keypexes will be used to eliminate noises, shuffling, mumbling, waiting, coughing, etc., from the chorus mics, the 3 wireless mics, the narrating mic, and the brass section mics. This device automatically turns the volume down on a given audio channel when there is not sufficient information coming through to trigger it. This will greatly relieve mixing problems. The device can also be used to turn other instruments or voices on or off in relation to a specific pulse. The bass drum could key the intermittent entrances of a held chord in the brass.
Yes, you read that, I remember now, but it's very interesting to listen again. He's giving all these technical specifications for the characters to create like different types of filtering and paneling to create these surround effects, which I found very interesting.
More of the technical harmonic climates, and he's got new technology to do with. So he's like really into the inventions that have come in over the last few years. At that point, he's really spotlighting the new advances in the studio stuff. In the